Fotodiox released a unique piece of gear that would let me shoot images with my old Hasselblad lenses to create medium format photographs without spending tens of thousands of dollars. This system includes a mounting plate that allows me to attach my Hasselblad lenses on the front. Then, on the back, I attach a Sony NEX camera to use as the sensor for capturing images. The device is called a RhinoCam, and it's designed to easily align several shots in a panoramic or 6:4:5 format. I'm getting ready to shoot a high-resolution image using the RhinoCam. This is going to be pretty exciting. I've got a beautiful scene. I'm going to see if I can recreate kind of that Ansel Adams feel by the time we get into post-production. So the first thing I've done is set up my camera, get my angle. I use the ground glass built into the unit to get my basic shot lined up, and everything's the way I want it, composition-wise. And I like to, just to make sure things are right where they need to be, I like to use a magnifying glass and take a good look here. On the front of the RhinoCam, I'm using a Hasselblad 80mm lens from my old archived mothballed Hasselblad rig, and I gotta tell you, it's nice to be using that lens again. So I got good glass, I got a nice, very high resolution camera to shoot this multi-image 8 exposures, which will be glued together in Photoshop. And the first series of exposures will be shot with the camera in the lowered position, which actually gets the higher areas of the scene, and we have 4 white dots here for which we'll shoot each exposure. There's exposure 1. Now we simply slide over to position 2, white dot to white dot, for this 6:45 format image, which is an 8:10 size. Slide it over, line up the dots white to white for exposure number 3 of 8 exposures. 8 exposures. Now we've shot our first 4 exposures and we're all good to go on that. Now we're going to lift the camera, which actually will see the lower parts of the scene. Imagine things are upside down, just like when things go into the eyeball, they're upside down, but our brain fixes it up for us, kind of automatic. And we'll shoot the next set. So, white dot to white dot. And the final exposure, and then we'll stitch it all together in Photoshop and see what we've got. We've got our 8 exposures. We're going to put them all together in Photoshop next. We're going to convert it to black and white. We're going to use the raw files from the Sony camera in order to bring out shadows where necessary, to minimize some of the highlights that might be blown out from some of the bright spots, especially in the falls and some of the clouds. And we're going to basically manipulate this image every way we possibly can. And our effort is to create a very Ansel Adams-like type of an image. So, without any further ado, let's get into the computer and into the studio and get some post-production well underway here. I imported my 8 camera raw images into Photoshop and made the adjustments I felt were necessary so each photo had the look I wanted. Next, I go to the File menu and click on Automate to get to the Photo Merge dialog box. Since my images are already open in Photoshop, I simply click on Add Open Files instead of browsing for the images I'm going to use. I accept the default settings of Automatic with the Blend Images Together checkbox at the bottom selected. Photoshop will overlap the edges of the 8 images and automatically create my large 6:4:5 high-resolution image. Here's my untitled Panorama 1, seamlessly stitched together. Check it out, this is at a 21% zoom level. When I zoom into 100%, you can see what a great looking detailed image the RhinoCam has given me to work with. The process of converting this to a black and white image is easy by using the black and white conversion tool, which is one of the options in Photoshop's adjustments panel. A simple click adds the adjustment layer to my image, which is instantly converted to black and white. I use the Properties dialog sliders to adjust the tones in my image. The green slider will affect the foliage in my image. Pushing it to the left will darken the trees, pushing it to the right will brighten them. To get that nice dark Ansel Adams sky, I'll adjust the cyan and blue channels. You can play around with each slider by adjusting them all the way one way, then all the way the other to see what kind of an effect you'll get. Yellow is going to further affect the foliage too. I can lighten it up all the way to where it begins to look like I shot with infrared film. I'm going to back the yellow off right about to there. Use Photoshop's additional tools or plug-in filters to further refine your image to taste. This is my final image from the RhinoCam files. Now I can output a nice 30 by 40 black and white print with this extremely high resolution 645 medium format image yielding excellent detail from corner to corner. The RhinoCam system gave me the opportunity to take 8 images, stitch them together in Photoshop, make some post-production adjustments to create a great looking photo.